it's like that's actually an interesting question I had like about music and stuff. Like, what do you guys like when artists talk about? Like, what do you like to hear from your artists?
I'm gonna let Patrick handle this first, because I have a lot to say. Maybe. All right, I'll go first so you can collect your thoughts. I'm a very emotional person. I wear my emotions on my sleeve and different stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I relate so much to that kind of, that emo, that pop punk, that rock. But I've always loved rock in general, right? Mm-hmm. I will say, though, having heard Blackbear and a few other more emo rap artists, I guess, mm-hmm. I've wanted to look into that a little bit more and I'm not big into rap. Right. But for me, the message of the song, what people are trying to say, that's the most important thing to me. If you were to ask me, the most important thing is the lyrics, because everything else is just, it's great, but it could just be background noise.
It's a means to an end to me.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So like, that's a good question for you. Yeah. That like, I'm curious about is like when you say that what they're saying is what you care about the most. Do you give them like liberty to say like, okay, you said this, I don't really agree with that, but I still like it because I can tell you're passionate about it, or do you tend to go towards things that just like resonate with you personally, or both? It is a
bit of both, because I think one of the things I think is awesome about music especially is that it can be so open to interpretation, and you can have a meaning to a song that is completely different from someone else, which is why I kind of don't ever want to. I used to always want to know like what is the official meaning of this song? What did the artist mean? But now I'm kind of more like, I don't want to know, because what this means to me is what it means to me.
Exactly.
And with that, what it means to you, because what it means to you, that you're right. It doesn't matter what it means to someone else, or what it was about when the artist wrote it, as long as it's not something, blatant, right? A lot of stuff. That's the thing is I do like...
If it relates to you, it's just like...
Exactly.
You can take it as you please.
Right, exactly. I like a lot of stuff that's vague enough to be implemented into different situations.
And it's beautiful because that will evolve with you.
Exactly,
and
100%.
That's like one of my favorite things. Yes. Like, there are songs that it's like 12 years later and I'm still listening to this all the time.
You can still connect to it on a daily basis.
But also you can look at something that you listened to like 10, 15, whatever years ago, listen to it now and be like, oh shit, this still means a lot, but it means something completely different now.
Right, because you grow and it grows with you.
And that is amazing, 100%.
Like, as our culture kind of progresses, lyrics kind of give like a different meaning sometimes as
they can
years can go by.
Yeah, they can do. Well, it's funny you say lyrics can give a different meaning. So many things, because of what we're going through right now. Whenever I see like, I was watching it's like Batman the Animated Series, which great show, and there would be scenes where Batman would be like, tell Robin, put on your mask. Because there'd be like smoke or something that they had to filter out. And I would just be like, oh my god, fuck. I would be like, shit. I can't hear that shit without thinking of now anymore. Like, it's ridiculous. But of course, it is crazy how things can just completely... I mean, the entire meaning of if a movie is remade, 30 years after it was originally made, or fairy tales and stuff, right? Fairy tales are constantly evolving. Fairy tales and... what are they? Like the Grimm's Brothers fairy tales and stuff like that. That evolved completely differently.
If you read old fairy tales,
they're fucked up.
They are grimace.
They're dark. Well, but also they had to be that way because they were to teach you keep kids from wanting to do bad things.
I disagree that they had to be that way.
They didn't have to take that route, but
we could do that.
They wanted to scare kids. They wanted to put the fear of God in them.
I think that Cuties movie had to it had to do with that.
Jesus fuck.
But one of that's what I love in movies too, right? I love the idea of left up to your interpretation.
Like at the end.
Okay, sometimes, you know what? Sometimes. Maybe I'm rethinking, because here's the thing. if they don't do it correctly, it's a cop out, right? It's just like I couldn't finish this, like because the ending is sometimes so difficult that like many movies that'll do that. I'm like, okay, you were just kind of struggling with this. That's what it feels like. It's just like
I see.
You just kind of end it. But when it's a movie that's like extremely well done, like for example, okay, one of my favorite movies of all time is Inception.
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
And Christopher Nolan is by far my favorite director. I love everything he does. Like it's just literally incredible to me. And I was perfectly fine with the ending because it is clear. So if you don't know, if you haven't seen that movie, I won't tell you the end. I guess I won't spoil it for them.
Oh, I've seen it.
But
that dude, it came in like what 2000.
I mean, everybody's seen it. There are plenty of movies.
I think the rule is like 5 years.
Some new movies recently that were so old, but I was like, man, this was amazing. Thank God I didn't get the spoiler.
Yeah, but that's on them. That's not. I don't know. I
don't think it's on you guys. Okay, I love you guys.
I don't know. I think if a movie is like.
But either way, like.
I think if a movie is like 5 or 10 years, like you can. But whatever.
But you're not really sure whether the protagonist, like, is back in reality or not.
Right.
At the end, but the movie itself is so masterful. Like for one, that's a part of it for me. Like I know that if they wanted to, they could finish it. Like it's not that difficult for them. Like at this point, they already did everything else. Plus, at that point, like it's one of those thinkers that now I can just continuously think about it. Like which I really like to do. Like I'll just like mull something over. I love to get other people's opinions on it. Like talk to them. And so that's why I love when things are just like left up to your interpretation, or they give you like a little bit. Like my favorite artist is J. Cole. He's a rapper, and he had this album called KOD, and man, he released 3 sentences, and then he said the rest of it is up to your interpretation. Like I'm not gonna get in an interview. Okay. I'm not gonna get in an interview and tell you this song was for this and this song was for that. It's KOD and their initials, and they stood for. So it was either he says kids on drugs, king overdosed, kill our demons, and it wasn't either. It was all of those 3 things.
Yeah.
And you can feel those motifs throughout the album, right? But like there's just so much more that you can take and just like have it for yourself and have it for your life.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, and I think that speaks a little bit to, so the concept of like, when you have something like people say, well, the movie's not as good as the book. That's because whatever you imagined, whatever is going to be projected, isn't going to live up to your imagination.
Yeah,
it's just not going to. That's why, like, when you have a horror movie, as soon as the monster is seen, it's immediately less scary. It's a lot less terrible.
Unless it's a really good one.
Unless it's a really most of the time.
Sometimes I'm just like, I wish I would have never seen it.
But most of the time, because you're fixating on and your mind is running crazy with all these possibilities of what it could be or all these different things. And that's why sometimes leaving an ending open to interpretation is good too, because it's not going to be as good as whatever you're imagining.
Exactly, because perception is reality, right?
Exactly.
And it's your reality for sure. So, but I always say this thing, which it really sounds stupid, but it's just true, which is like, perception is reality until reality is just reality. And that is like one of those times when that happens, like, because you're perceiving this, like in your example, this like monster, it's like so scary and everything, and you almost, at least for me, I don't even really usually like get an actual, I don't create a picture in my mind. I'm just like scared of the thing, and I don't even know. But then as soon as like the reality hits, like you're saying, and I actually see it, now my perception, and now reality has set in, and it's just not as scary anymore for me.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. Yeah, definitely.